was a Monday like any other Monday when we're busy, going between clinic and operating room and consults and so forth. And all of a sudden I look down to get 6 texts right in a row. Hey, we're in the ER. There's a mass casualty event. Probably, 30 seconds later, I got a phone call from the chief of staff, and it was, Jay, this is not a drill. This is real. There's been a school shooting. And so I went down to the ER. Everybody was there. There were about 30 people, between myself. There was a pediatric ER specialist, pediatric trauma surgeon, airway specialists, a lot of nurses, a lot of support systems. We're ready, leaning in. We had heard that there were some fatalities, but maybe there were not. And we waited and we waited and we waited until they said, there's nobody else coming. What that meant was that they were all dead. That silence and sadness just pervaded the whole area. Everybody just kind of sagged and walked away. And that was a very challenging thing for us to be able to handle. We had trained for this, for the ability to save children. The desire that we had to be able to do something was really strong. And, I sat there thinking about how after Uvalde, my field, the American Society of Pediatric Neurosurgeons, how I had so many emails going around about what do we do? Do we know somebody know a senator? Does somebody know a writer? Does somebody know somebody in the media? And a good friend of mine who's the chief of pediatric neurosurgery at Connecticut Children's talked about how he was there after Sandy Hook and he was waiting and waiting and waiting. So here we are. That happened, 10 years ago. So he describes waiting and waiting and waiting. Uvalde, waiting and waiting and waiting. And now here we are, waiting and waiting and waiting. And so it's clear there's not a lot that we can do in the trauma rooms unless the people get to us so that we can help save them and do what we have been trained to do. Challenges with these really destructive weapons, we can't do that work. Children die at the scene. And don't get me wrong. I mean, 80% of kids with gunshot wounds to the head die at the scene. But a lot of kids that have gunshot wounds to other part of their bodies that aren't quite as destructive, they make it to the hospital. And some kids with gunshot wounds to the head do make it to the hospital, and we can make a profound difference. But when it's so destructive, it's just not possible. It's just these are weapons that were obviously not meant to be being used as how they're used against children. We wanted to have an opportunity to save those kids.